So here's that that delay is doesn't have an on-off switch, which I can add to it, even a true bypass. But the degradation of the delays is not as sweet as the other 2399, and the other 2399 chip I have is much bigger. The components are much bigger. The capacitors and the resistors are much bigger, and more electrical playroom in there. But this is it, and I just got it temporarily rigged up. I'm definitely going to put the little pot over here so I can control the delay speed. So what answered my own question, let's zoom in just a little. What answered my own question is this. This is in fact the number of repeats. It is not a volume knob at all. Which explains why my other 2399 circuit has an extra, what's called an operational amp chip, which is for the volume control, which controls the volume of the repeats or the mix of the repeats and the volume of the guitar. Maybe that's why it has that extra chip. But I don't know how to remove, I asked that other guy in his video, maybe he'll leave an answer, how to remove these surface mount components. Do I just heat the whole entire thing? Or because certainly on the other side there's no through legs, there's nothing to heat. So I'm not really sure. I don't want to mangle it out of there just by cutting it, which is what the other guy said to do, which would probably work. But and then the other thing is you supposedly can put a modulation on one of the legs of these by putting a potentiometer off of one of the legs with a resistor value and or a capacitor. But this is not a very clean, so I think I'm just gonna, it's nowhere near as the big chip and the rest of the large components I have, but here it is. I'll turn it up all the way maximum repeats. Certainly a blender would be a good idea, to have a blender between the clean signal and the, that's going through the effects loop. That's not the guitar straight into it. That's the preamp going into it. So it might be hitting it a little hard. I'm going to switch it for old Engzyme's sake. What is old Enzyme anyway? I don't know. Alright, so I'll put this in here. Don't plug your effects loop into the input of your amp because that happens. Alright. Now let's see what happens. Alright, so it definitely does sound different. It hits the guitar signal way differently. It's a little sweeter because it's not hitting it as hard with a tick. So we turn down the repeats. Turn up a little treble here. Treble always replicates very well. Oh, that's the volume. Sorry. Treble. Wow, this thing doesn't transfer treble very well. My tone knobs are all the way up. My treble is cranked. So this thing sucks a little treble, I noticed. it's going to be worth it to put that pot in there and see for a slapback, make a slapback out of it, and maybe a blender knob. See if I can get it to chorus. Yeah, a little bit, eh? It's a very ticky repeat, isn't it? I'm going to turn down the volume on the guitar and see if not hitting it as hard makes less tick. Yeah, I mean, there could be some modifications made to it. That's probably a lot to do with it, making some modifications. But honestly, maybe the chip is not as good sounding as the large one I have in the other one. I don't know if that's a Texas Instruments or not, that $23.99, but it's a much larger chip. It's huge. It's like almost twice the size of that. So, I mean, it matters. It does make a difference. I noticed that. I mean, I suppose you could have a large component that doesn't sound good, but usually the larger components seem to have more sag and variableness, and so that's very straight. I mean, it could just be the circuit too. There could be a slight modification made to it to not be so, harsh. But that's not a volume knob. That is the number of repeats. Actually, it's the volume of how much goes into the chip circuit. Well, I can tell you right now, it's a little bit of a tone sucker, that's for sure. There's my neck pickup. I've got that treble absolutely cranked. Well, it'll be interesting to put that pot in it right here. And I got to remove the surface mount resistor, which is so tiny. I have no idea how I'm going to remove that. Well, let's see if we can show it. If I can show you here. Can't even see. Maybe if I get into the light. Let's see here. Let us see. So this is where the focus. Yep. Yeah, that one right there. 1, 2, 3. That guy right there. Number 27, I think it says on it. And you can see it's surface mount. And then basically this pot runs to the same leg of the circuit. But if you look under the card, that's what I want to know. How did that guy remove it? Because as you can see, none of the surface mount resistors show on here. That is the chip, those soldering marks, and these are the 3 marks for the pot. Surface mount. It's just that. It's like heat soldered to the thing. So what do I do? Do I heat the whole component and grab it with pliers and try to pull it off? I don't know. They just heat the 2 ends of it? I don't know. I don't want to just cut it off of there like the other guy said he did. I'd like to do a neat job. You know, they put solder in these pores here, you know, to receive the wires and or the legs. If I can score one of these same pots, they'll be worth it. And then there's like other factors too, like it's a little harsh, it's a little ticky. It should hit softer. It should have some more audio-based capacitors. The bright end is missing because of the tickiness. They knocked out the bright end rather than clarifying the circuit. What I mean, these small, tiny components probably don't lend to a lot of electrical playfulness or bloomingness, you know? That's what I reckon. And like I say, that chip is half the size, maybe a little more than half, 5/8 of the size of the other chip that I have, which would go all the way to this capacitor, and it's a lot wider. So that probably makes a difference, but I'm sure there's little things that could be done here. What's this little guy here? U4. What is that, a transistor? It looks like a transistor. Yeah, see what I did here? I've been double shrink wrapping stuff. Like I cut the sides off of this with the cutters and then soldered the 2 legs and then put shrink wrap over those and then a larger piece of shrink wrap over the whole thing. I did the same on both sides. So, oops, didn't mean to zoom in. I was trying to zoom out. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, there it goes. Oh, I didn't know you could zoom like that. You could hold your finger right there and slide. Oh, that's much better. All right, so that's it. You gotta put jacks. These are temporary. I stole them from other things. I stole this one out of that wah pedal I was trying to fix. Oh, that's a battery clip. No switch to turn it on and off, so you need a switch. A true bypass, preferably, but it needs to be modified. It's a little too dark, and it's not very sweet sounding, which is why I would speculate why they made it so dark, because it's not very sweet sounding. But the delay time will help. I think it'll sound very good with a short slapback. You know, brip, 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 like maybe a triple or, you know, 1.5 repeats. But this is not a volume. It's a number of repeats. So it may be like how much signal is going into the chip. It could be considered a volume in that respect. But all right, so that's it. What's it called? I don't know. It's on Amazon. It's like $5 and something. There's the name right there. It's in Chinese. Dazim something, blah, blah, blah. It says Younggy, Youngwy, Younggy microphone reverb. Sounds like the reverb you hear in like a, you know, a silly little Christmas ornament or something. You know, it's a little bit, honestly, there's a lot there. So I would think it could be made to sound much better than it does, to be honest. Unless that chip is just not a good, you know, sounding replicator. It's just low quality. But I would imagine it could be made to sound better with better resistors or capacitors in certain key locations. I don't know. I'm going to have to learn how to unsolder these float soldered or surface mounted. Hold on a second. So that's that. All right. Just wanted to share it. Thanks for sharing your videos, people that help each other. I want my children back. I miss my children. I saw a little girl that looked like one of my children, and my friend told me the scary part of, even politely confronting the child, even though she seemed to recognize you, is that the mother doesn't know that you're the father, based on ritual sexual abuses and what they call compartmentalized dissociation. She's not going to realize that I'm the actual father of that child if that was the same child. I went to the police wouldn't help me. So yeah, it's like, here I do healthy habits. These are also, if you do your projects, these are also on Amazon. These are hard battery clips, nice and hard, and you can move it so that the wires come out the side or out the end, depending how you want it. It's movable. So that, because it unclips in half. So that's a good feature. All right, see you later.